This is Am I the Astronaut for Ending Our Marriage When My Husband Abandoned Me While My Mom Was Dying of Cancer. That's a heavy title. My husband, 36 male, and I, 38 female, have been together since 2017 and married in 2019. We have one child, 4 male. We bought our house together 1 year ago, even though we were struggling a bit in the relationship. I thought all relationships have difficult moments, and once we're a bit settled, we can really start to work on us. Unfortunately, no matter how much I tried to communicate, he would rather look at his phone or play video games and ignore everything I was feeling. We'll do this for that. It was really hard to try not to resent him for this and try to understand why this might be happening, but I did end up feeling resentment. I struggled within myself to be more understanding and kept trying to find marriage counseling. However, that had to hit pause when my mom's health got really bad. She had been diagnosed with multiple myeloma a couple years ago and had been going to doctors weekly for treatments, which I was helping with as well. I spoke to my husband early this year about moving her in with us as we had a spare bedroom so I could take full care of her while she went through chemo, to which he agreed. She moved in February 1st and declined very quickly. By April, the doctor told us treatment doesn't seem to be helping at all anymore and only making her sicker, and it would be best to take her home and start hospice care. So at home, I met with hospice nurses to discuss care, which ended up being medication every hour, and watching her because she started to become very confused and kept wanting to walk around even though her body couldn't. My husband helped a little here and there, but I mostly did everything until my sister came to stay while we go through this together. On May 7th, my husband's day off work, I asked if he would make us breakfast because we are literally not leaving my mom's room for more than a few minutes to make sure she's okay and just to be there with her during her final days. He decided he was not going to do that, got pissed off, and left for the whole day because he didn't want to make breakfast. Like, nah, I'm gonna leave instead. I honestly have no clue why asking for breakfast pissed him off, but I couldn't focus on that right now. He returned later that night just to tell me I had 30 days to leave, which I reminded him my name is also on the house and I will not be doing that. He left again. He came back the next day after work because he had nowhere else to go, and I told him that I felt like he abandoned me in a time when I needed him the most, put more unnecessary stress on me in the worst time of my life, and I don't feel like I can forgive him for this. I said, I'm done trying so hard when I feel like he isn't doing much of anything to fix our relationship nor supporting me during this awful time. I said, I'm done. This was my line of how far was too far, and it's over. I also said because we both own the house, we both need to be the best parents we can for our little one. We should both stay in the house as roommates / co-parents, but I could not be in a relationship with a person who could hurt me the way he has. Sadly, my mom passed only 4 days later, May 11th. Thankfully, I was surrounded by my 2 sisters, my brother-in-law, 2 nieces, and my son, so I wasn't alone. But I still struggle with knowing if I've done the right thing. My son is so young and I want him to be happy. From what I can tell, he is. He's definitely a mama's boy some days, and other days he only wants his dad, and I wouldn't want to take that from him. So much has changed in the home except my expectations of my now ex-husband. There's no affection between us, but that was already kind of how it was due to his phone and video games. As long as he continues to work and provide his portion to keep the house and bills paid, and he continues being a decent father, I don't really care what he does anymore. Side note, I also work outside the home as a caregiver, so I do my part to contribute to the house and bills. Am I the astronaut for ending our marriage? No, hell no. Hell no. There are potential complications here, likely complications here that we do need to address. Absolutely not the asshole. Even before he did the erratic things where he was like, no, instead of making breakfast for you, I'm just going to leave the entire day and then coming back and telling you to get out, which was a brozo move. We'll go ahead and do this as well. Even before all of that, deciding to completely neglect you and choose himself all the time, which is what was happening here and here, deciding to choose him time instead of we time every time is a problem. That's a deal breaker, and it's something that you, as long as you throw a flag and you be like, hey, when you do these things, this is how it makes me feel. I'm giving you the opportunity to change that thing. You don't have to accept it. He just wasn't going to change, and instead just decided he wanted to keep choosing him time all the time, and that was that. The problem that I see for you comes in here because living together with an ex so that you can co-parent sounds like a really, really complicated situation here. I can tell you from experience that your child will be happier with 2 happy homes than they are with 1 unhappy home. Your kids in general, kids, like it's scary to take that away from them. And it's scary to, like, you don't want to bust that family up. I understand where you're at. I understand the fear there. And I understand there's some economic limitations here as well. But I'm telling you, that fear that is keeping this toxic environment going right now for you guys, like that radiates to your kids as well. Your happiness is one of the best things that you can do to set an example for your kid. And at some point, that's going to lead to being happy in a separate home. And maybe your ex will be happy in a separate home as well. That's on him. But the best thing you can do for your child is be happy, because they're going to grow up with you as the benchmark. They're going to grow up thinking, this was okay for my mom. This was enough for my mom. So this is enough for me. Like, I'll settle for this because she settled for this. You have an opportunity here to set the bar for the choices that you want your child to make too. And I understand the flip side of that is, like, I want to make sacrifices for my child's happiness. Well, you need to understand that your happiness is one of the most important things that you can provide for your child. It's complicated, but I could tell you from experience that your kids will be okay and will be happy in separate homes. Keeping it together can lead to more complications. And I understand there are some financial limitations there as well with the separate homes thing, but you'll get that part figured out. Just don't let splitting up the family be the only thing that holds all that together for you, because you will not be happy. Even if it's just the vibe you put off your aura, they feel that. Most kids are empaths.